I'm gonna just talk about the way how things are going in the economy. The economy is not good. The geopolitical scene of economy is not good. And that's why I was watching this video and this guy said, yeah, Americans are doom spending, which means motherfuckers are spending money that ain't got no money. And as soon as they get money, they spend it or they saving it just so they can spend it on something. Most Americans won't even get a chance to get a house or a brand new car or anything like that because they don't care. They like, fuck it, I got money now, I'm finna spend it. And that's the whole way they want you to be because they already they got rid of Social Security. It just ain't been publicized yet. They're just running off fumes with this shit. So by the time your kids get older, there won't be no Social Security. This shit'll be gone. But at the end of the day, it goes to show that most Americans right now, they don't give a fuck about how the economy is. They just gonna keep going to the store, spending, buying a house. They don't even. I'm gonna give me a house, and they don't care about it because I only got one life to live. But no, you've been taught to have all of this shit because if you came out the mother womb and no one ever told you about a house and the picket fence and all that old shit, would you be really trying to do that shit? But the whole thing is programming. So that now that it's in your head, now you gotta have it, and now you don't care about how the economy is. You don't care about, hey, later on down the line, I might not have this job because these jobs nowadays, what the fuck? You might not have it in about 2 weeks or whatever. And so the whole point is you get it and you think, oh, I've been on a job for a couple of years, that it's gonna be like that for about 30 years, because that's how long people got to keep that house. That's how long people got to keep condos for 5 years. Some jobs don't even last longer than 2 years, and everybody want to do this future shit, doom spinning. And he was right. It's like it's just putting the country further in the hole because people think the economy going good because people still spending money, but they spending money they don't really have. They just want to just do it, and then they get in trouble and got to borrow money and all of this stuff because they had to go do this because they got to do it. And it's like you ain't enjoying your life, which means you can't enjoy yourself unless you spending money that was already marked to put on your ass anyway. So it's not even a real thing. It's like I said in my other video, it's just cut up fucking goddamn trees and shit. And you know what I'm saying? They colored it like and put somebody's face on it. And now you running around crazy. But my whole thing is you supposed to be able to control that money because it's your money. You work hard for it. You control it. You save it. You just don't do shit on certain times. If you're young and you just got to go party, then you don't party as much. You party when you do party. You just party your ass off, but just don't do it as often because you want to keep money, right? But people don't want to keep money. They want to keep spending because they living in a fantasy, and everything is always temporary. Everything from money to looks to everything. It ain't never all this shit. It is that's why the only thing that is a long term is your soul. Guess what? Your spirit and all of that shit inside of you that make you you. That's looking outside those eyes of yours. That motherfucker inside your body. That motherfucker right there lasts longer than your looks, lasts longer than your body, lasts longer than everything. Your body could wear out, but that motherfucker inside is still okay. So what I'm saying is that's who you should be trying to keep in shape. And that's who you should be trying to keep on the up and up, because then that controls everything else, and then go in your body and all these other things, and then you'll start clicking into what you need to eat better and all of this. But if you ain't got that motherfucking inside that body together, then it don't matter. Everything is temporary. You're gonna start getting old. You're gonna start. There's everything is it is. So when people living for the moment, you can live for the moment. It's okay to live for the moment, but then it's just like a TV show that goes off after 5 seasons or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It ain't. It's about maintaining what's inside. Then that'll help the outside, but you gotta maintain what's inside, and that's the mental stability, the consciousness to knowing what's going on around you, and the needless spending that you. That's why, because you got to know what's going on around you. Then you probably I ain't gonna spend that. I ain't gonna go get that. But you're not doing that. You just want to fantasize. And a lot of people just do that. It's okay to fantasize, but damn, it's like the addiction to it is not good. It's not good to be addicted to fantasy. It's only good to be fantasized and then okay, that was a fan. I already know it's a fantasy. Just and then go back to reality, but don't stay in this reality like you love it. Just know what it is, right? It ain't you ain't got to like it, but know what it is, and then go in your fantasy. Know that that's what that is. You know what I'm saying? And then what lies in between is you. And you control both sides of the fence. That fantasy and that this shit that they call reality. You control both sides. And then you know in between is the real shit. But all the shit, the other shit, all this other shit, fantasy and all this glamour, and all the other shit that's on this side and that side, that ain't doing nothing. What's the motherfucker in between is just like the same entity inside your body looking at those eyes. That's the motherfucker that's gonna be lasting longer than those two things, cause those two things is fake that I just mentioned. There's fake ass reality and that fantasy that you got. You know what I'm saying? It's fake. The only real shit is you, your physical body, but it ain't really that. It's what's inside you. That's real. That's the thing that's real, and that's what got to be keeping it real. Is the thing up in you. The thing outside of you is just all immaterial. Just like it works like this. It's like they say, as above, so below, right? So if as above, so below, then you know as inside is outside. So if your inside is fucked up, your outside gonna be fucked up. So if your inside is meaning your mental, your consciousness, your you know what I'm saying, and all of that shit, then everything else will kick in. But if you fucking stressed and your inside ain't right, you're stressing out and you're going through and it be about little bullshit, but it get built up to be something. That stress is a part of that fake ass reality and that fantasy. Is a part of that, and it's hard to separate it because it's so fucking in your face. Sometimes it's hard. It's hard for me. It's hard for a lot of people. But you got to know the difference and try to do that so that you can maintain in this world because you're stuck in between two places: the fake ass reality that we've been given, and then the fantasy that you want to live because you hate this reality. You know what I'm saying? So then what's in between that is this shit here. So when you start off and the people be talking about, yeah, I'm gonna spend this money, I don't give a fuck if I ain't got you living in a fantasy, but you get the fantasy is coming from the fake reality that you want to escape. You know what I mean? Like I want this fake ass reality we live in. I want to escape that with a fantasy, but both sides fake. And the only thing that's real is the person that the entity that's you. And if you don't pay attention to that motherfucker, just like your intuition, then at the end of the day, you're gonna wake up and go, oh shit, well, time then flew, and I just still think I'm 25. I still think I'm, you know, because you can't, you gotta, it's the way it is. It's just nature. This you gotta, because if you don't, the nature gonna let you know on its own. You can all here pretend, but you know it's gonna let you know. So basically, you gotta pay attention to yourself and your intuitions, and then everything else is like I said, fake and fantasy. And what the dude's talking about with doom spending and all of this is happening. People are doom spending. They're just spending and they don't have to. But then again, you got all these young generations that they know that's gonna do it because the young generations don't give a fuck about nothing because they thinking about the moment and they just gonna go spend that money. That's what they gonna do. But then again, what can you do? Because you said when we all was young, well, yeah, when I was young, I wasn't spending shit. When I was young, I knew. I just this was me. I knew what the fuck it was. I mean, I was not disconnected from this fake ass reality and the fantasy. I was connected to both, knowing that they both fake, so that I could move in between that shit and try to make it. You know what I mean? And then be happy, cause why not? You alive. You don't know what it is to be dead, so you get to be happy through the shit. But your mind is on the fantasy too much, and that's why you can't be happy because you come back to this fake ass reality where you can't really be happy in, and then you go, oh, when at the end of the day, the entity in between those two realities is the motherfucker, and that is the person you gotta entity you gotta keep up and upheld. And that means money ain't got nothing to do with it. Your status ain't got nothing to do with it. Your looks ain't got nothing to do with it. Your health ain't got nothing to do with it as far as physical. It's part of your mental and your spiritual well being. Got a lot to do with it. And that's why it's a mental and spiritual war. It's a mental attack and a war attack. And that's why young people are going against older people. Older people disdain for the young people because they don't like to listen. And they talk about this is in the Bible. Well, don't you know when you got predictive programming, they could put it in that book because they already knew it was gonna happen because they already setting the precedence for it to happen. It ain't no miracles or all that shit. They already knew they was gonna make this shit happen. They put it in there. They talking to each other. They ain't got to talk to you. All you gotta do is read the shit and know that that's what they saying. It's predictive programming from way back. They've been doing this. Technology didn't start in the 2000s. It sure didn't start in the 1900s. It ain't start in the 1800s, 1700s. These motherfuckers had technology forever. They want you to believe they didn't have it, but they always had it, and they always had predictive programming too. And they knew if they could release something and give it to the public that was once apocryphal to give to the public, because everybody couldn't have no Bible at a time. They couldn't have that shit. They were like, no, you can't have this shit. But then one day it went to some type of publication, which is the printing press publication, and all of a sudden everybody could have one. When they say everybody can have something, you got to check for it, man. People don't do that. Predictive programming all day long. You can make Revelation sound all crazy with the dragons and the seven heads and the trumps. And the Trump is in there because Trump is trumpet. Trump is in there. So, but at the end of the day, they already knew that was going to happen. It ain't no miracle. It's just predictive programming. It's just entities that's been here longer than you. And they ain't never been, like I said, keep saying in my video, everything did not start with you as the human that you look like today. We just another creation from another creation. You know what I mean? So that's why things can be predictable. That is why. But again, I digress because it tells you in the Bible in Genesis that we ain't the first creations. It tells you in there, and I have to keep saying it. It tells you in there that we ain't the first creation. It tells you in there that we ain't the first creation. So why not when the motherfucker know what's gonna happen? And then put it in the book because they the same shit. They just gonna keep repeating over and over again because ain't nobody even figured the program out. They don't give a shit. So at the end of the day, yeah, they can say this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. And then put it in a book in a fucking encrypted code with all this dragon shit and seven continents and all this old shit, which is more than seven continents. But they gotta tell you that. But it's all a game. And that's why I said it's a fake reality. It's a fake reality. And your fantasies is fake. The dreams can become real if you stand fast to a dream that's reachable. But the fantasy and this reality are both two fake things. So in between that, we gotta know, hey, I don't need that because I can't afford it. And if I can't afford it, I'm gonna be able to pay for that shit for 20, 30 years. I'm gonna be, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes your well-being and health and having access to getting to money just because you're not spending shit is a comfortable place to be sometimes. That's what you want to be nowadays. You don't want to be, I want this, I want that, I want this, I want to have this, and this big house and all this, and ain't got no money. Just like something happen to you, you got to go to the hospital, you got to spend out-of-pocket deductible money. You ain't got it. Don't happen to you, go to the hospital, they be like, man, yeah, your insurance cover only this much. You got to still pay like $180. If you ain't got no money, how you gonna fucking do that? You see, so there you just gonna die. You just gonna get hurt. You just gonna be fucked. See, this is what I'm saying. The reality of it all is that it ain't got to be a fantasy that need to come true for you that so you can be happy. You can make yourself happy by shit that you like to do. Little shit that you like to do. And it's to yourself. It ain't got to be around a bunch of people. Just some shit you like to do to keep you sane and happy. Why everybody always talk about they believe in they self, but then they gotta include the whole goddamn world in what they fucking doing. So at the end of the day, just like I said, we in between a fake reality and a fantasy. And that's where people stay at. They don't even stay in between, they just play both sides. And the middle just get ignored. And the middle is the most important part, which is you, your soul, and your mind and your spirit. And then the physical body comes into play because it's a part of this physical place. You know what I'm saying? That's it. But there's other shit inside you ain't. Peace. You know what I'm saying?